just love frogs.
I know.
What can I say?
So cute. So
Thank you.
cute jumper.
It's a Chloe special.
I miss Chloe and all her clothes.
Me too. What's it like being back in a school?
It's good. I mean, it's only really my third proper day with the kiddos because I arrived back from Cape Town last week. So, like, Wednesday and Thursday was sort of just me observing and kind of shadowing. And then Friday was my first proper day. And then, because I'm teaching grade 3 and grade 5 and grade 2.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because you're locum teaching.
Yes.
I guess, are you in different classes across the day?
Yeah. So I'm teaching my grade 3's English and maths, and then I'm doing a combined group where it's all about 6 bricks, which is an amazing program. Probably not heard about it. It was started over here by a South African. It's really, really cool. So it's literally 6 Duplo bricks, different colors, and then you do a whole bunch of activities with them. It's really, really fun.
You'll have to give us a tutorial one of
Yes.
these days.
Yeah, I would love to. I love it so much. I'm doing that for the grade 3s and for the grade 2s. And then for the grade 5s, I'm doing English, and I'm also doing their art, drama, and library.
Okay,
So
nice.
a lot of stuff for them, but also they're like a relatively good group. They're really sweet. I'm starting to learn all their names. I still don't know how you manage to learn the entire school's names in Romania and every other school that you are at. So yes, that's that. And how your week's going?
Busy, full of animals, full of adventures. Oh, I went to my very, very, very good close friend's wedding on Saturday.
That's amazing.
It was amazing. It was fantastic. And my understory of the week kind of links to it. So
Okay.
I'll get to that later.
Yay. I am very excited, and I think we might have an understory of the week from Anna.
Okay. I'm excited to hear that.
So that's really exciting. The other exciting thing is I'm loving your little frogs. And then in my hair, can you see what I've got?
Is that a tree?
It is a tree.
Oh, it's a sparkly tree. I love it so much.
Me too. It's so cute.
Look at us dressing for the occasion.
I bought it when I was in Cape Town, and I was just like, this is the perfect opportunity to wear it. And so I'm loving it. Makes me very happy.
I'm so jealous. I want one. I used to have a snail hair clip. Do you remember?
Yes. Do you
It
still
broke.
have?
No, it broke. I was gutted, but it was also a little bit too small for my hair. It wasn't strong enough.
Yeah, you got a lot of hair.
Yeah, need a nice big hair clip tonight.
There's so many these days. You get a whole bunch of different things, which is so cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love a hair clip.
We do. You and I both. Like, it's a problem. I have a thought of the week for you.
Hit me.
Okay. So this, and I'm going to hopefully say his name correctly, is a quote by George Santana. Okay. He was born in Madrid, Spain in 1863, and he was a Spanish philosopher, theist, poet, and novelist. What I found really cool about him is, and this is not the quote for this week, but he is known for quite a few memorable expressions, such as, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Oh,
and that's one I know I've heard a lot of.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
So I was just like, that is so cool that he is the one who like coined that term almost. But this is the thought of the week, and I thought it worked perfectly for you. It is: the earth has music for those who listen.
Okay, it's true.
It is true. And I think you are the perfect one to talk to us about this, especially with your music background. So what are your thoughts around this beautiful quote?
Well, I think that music is such a fundamental part of Earth. Like, everything that moves in some kind of rhythm. Mm-hmm. Everything that grows in some kind of pace. So that's just two things. Yeah. And then if you sit somewhere quietly and you close your eyes, you can hear something. And the presence of noise is the presence of music, depending on whether that's how you want to perceive it. But it's true, because in order for it to be music, it has to have sound, and it has to have some kind of rhythm, and it has to have some kind of pace. So every single sound does. That could be the wind, that could be the rain, that could be the rustling of the trees, that could be an animal running past, that could be the flapping of wings, that could be the call of birds, that could even be us talking or singing, or it could be the heartbeat that we can hear inside our head when we've just finished a run or something. It's all music. It's all music. Whether that's what we're used to listening to, probably not, but it is all music. And I think the best example of this is probably when you look into culture. So every single culture around the world has its own music, and it has its own instruments. And those instruments have been made from natural resources to mimic natural sounds. A flute might be mimicking wind, for example. Or the Kazakh dombra is one of my absolute favorites, and that mimics hoofbeats. So horses running. Yeah, it's so cool. So yeah, the earth does have music for those that listen, and it's about knowing what you're listening for and just accepting it, isn't it?
And just giving yourself that space to listen, right?
Yeah,
I sat
exactly.
down to prepare for our filming today, and I don't know if you can hear it, but the wind is blowing and the trees are rustling and the leaves are making beautiful noises, and I was just like, what a perfect quote to go with a very
Absolutely.
windy, beautiful day.
It's amazing, isn't it? I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So I thought you would. And I thought also this might be a good opportunity for you to talk about what you are looking to do with forest schools. Because I know you've got a very unique take on where you want to go. And so I wanted to give you this opportunity as well to kind of just like tell the people about your hopes and dreams around all of that.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. My goal, I've got 3 passions, and I think of them as like a passion triangle. So I've got music, education, and nature. And that kind of sets me in the direction. This looks more like a triangle from where I'm sat, but it sets me in the direction of where I want to go, which is to make music and nature more accessible to more people. So you think about music, for example, probably if you're looking for music education, the first thing you think of is, can I afford it?
Yeah.
And
It's expensive.
yeah, it is. And that's the thing. It's the music world has become such a elitist thing, and it's becoming more and more difficult, and it, like, I see the effects of this every single day when I'm looking at the education system, when I'm looking at the people around me and how they tell me how they wish they could learn something, or they ask me a question about something that they're like, oh, what does this mean? And so the gap between music and general accessibility of the general population is getting wider and wider. And you see this in how marginalized music education is becoming. People don't appreciate it as much. A lot of people see it as quite a stuffy industry, because I think the classical music, whilst I am absolutely a classical music person and I adore classical composers and listening to it and playing it, I can appreciate how stuffy that world has become and how inaccessible that feels to an awful lot of people. And then the pop industry, the rock industry is so full of corruption that then there also becomes another layer to it that you're like, I want to stay away from that because it's not healthy, it's not promoting good values. And so there's a lot of negative connotations in music these days that really negatively impacts the accessibility of it, and I feel very, very passionate about that. Like we were just saying, music is such a fundamental part of the entire world around us. It's such a fundamental part of us, like as of our nature. Your heartbeat is the easiest example of that. Like if your heart wasn't beating to a particular rhythm and pace, then that would be a signal that something was very, very seriously wrong.
Yes.
And you walk to a particular rhythm and pace. Everything that you do has music integrated into it, and we have become so disconnected from that as a society, and we don't value that to the level that we should. So making music more accessible is a huge passion. The same with nature. You think about how much benefit we get from going out in nature every day, walking the dogs, or just getting out and spending time outside and observing stuff. There are so many people that cannot access that. They're stuck inside flats, or they're stuck inside cities where the only option of a green space they've got is something that has been heavily lawn mowed and probably is is covered in litter and metal benches or something. And no, like I really, really advocate for green spaces in cities, but they're definitely not looked after to the extent that they should be. They're definitely not appreciated, or
even
the effort isn't put in that it should be.
designed, right? They're not even necessarily well designed, because they're literally just like, okay, here's a green space, plonk some grass down.
Right.
But not always thinking about what's the correct type of grass, even. So I'm realizing how many different types of just normal green grass there are, let alone all the other types of grass that we get. And so not taking those into consideration, not thinking about pollinators, not thinking about spaces for our creatures to live in, and those are all important things, because that brings that diversity in and keeps
Exactly.
the system working.
Exactly. We seem to be very, very afraid of biodiversity. It's like we want to avoid being connected with nature as much as we can. And it does come down to comfort zone as well, I think. Like when you're so used to not being around something, then when you're around it, it doesn't feel comfortable anymore. And it's like suddenly you see a spider and you're terrified. I can relate to that. I find spiders terrifying. However, being in a situation where I see them a lot, they're less scary to me now. I just kind of accept them, and they live here as well. That's it. Give them a name, make them less scary.
Like you did with your class in Romania. Yeah, like you did in
Exactly.
Bucharest. What was its name? I can't remember.
Tom Cruise, the stink bug.
Oh yeah, that was the stink.
Yeah, yeah. And then
You
there was
even
the
had a
spider.
funeral.
Bob was the spider.
Bob was the spider. Okay, but you had a funeral for Tom Cruise, the stink bug.
We did. Yeah, we did. That was a very dramatic occasion.
It was an experience.
It was a fateful day. I think we'd spent a whole year being friends with that stink bug, and many children had come into contact with him and learned to love him, and then we found him stepped on the floor.
Yeah.
It was sad.
Didn't they sing to him and everything?
Yeah, we had a funeral outside the music room, and we buried Tom Cruise. We made him a grave that said R.I.P. on it. One of the kids made a sign saying "Do not touch," and then we had, so the kids led speeches, and one of the kids asked if we could say a prayer for him, so we did, and then we sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It was wonderful.
It is wonderful though, and I think those are the little pockets where you've brought forest school education and their way of thinking and their way of doing things. You kind of brought that into the classroom, the typical classroom.
True.
Right? Because those are the things that your children in forest schools are going to see more of and do more of, and they've got this deep appreciation and love for nature and everything around them. And so
That's it. Exactly.
I love that you were already, without even doing the training, you were already able to bring all of that into the classroom, and then bringing music into that. I think it's just going to be such a beautiful project.
I hope so too. It definitely feels like I've hit my my niche. Yeah, like I am so passionate about it. Every time I think about it or talk about it, I just get this flow of ideas.
Oh, I'm excited for you.
Me too.
And I know before we officially start this episode, is there anywhere that the people can find you, follow you, and follow this musical journey?
So I am the musical root on Instagram, and themusicalroot.com is my WordPress, where I post my blogs, which I posted my first one, and that was really exciting. So
it was a really, really interesting read. I really enjoyed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that.
You're such a beautiful writer, and you're just able to like put things into such a beautiful perspective. So I'm really excited to watch that grow for you as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, hi everyone, we are Understory Learning, and we are here to share with you our adventures as we explore the natural spaces around us and embark on our own learning of forests and the outdoor space. We will be covering today national birds, or more specifically, our national birds of South Africa and Great Britain. And
if we will have time, maybe a couple of extra local birds.
Yeah. And then we have an Understory of the Week coming up. Hattie.
And I'm Caitlin.
Very, very glad to have you with us.
Yes, we are. And I want to just take this moment also to put out a little disclaimer. This is purely our opinions. Hattie and I have done a lot of research in terms of the work that we're going to present to you guys, or present to each other as well. But as we know, there is a lot of research that is continuously happening. So there is a chance that something that we talk about is outdated, or that you might have heard of new research. If there is ever anything that you do disagree with, please feel free to reach out, let us know, share articles, share your thoughts and opinions, and we would love to hear from you in the comments, or you can pop us an email. But yeah, just keep in mind that this is obviously the research that we've done, but these are also our thoughts and opinions, and so you don't have to have the same opinions as us.
Yeah, please correct us if we get stuff wrong. We want to learn. That's why we're here.
Awesome. Okay, well, Hattie, do you want to start us off with your national bird, which you alluded to in the previous episode?
Yes. So, we had a vote for our national bird about 10 years ago, and the public shortlisted it down to 6 birds that we thought were representative of the UK before we picked our final one. So the 6 birds that were shortlisted, we had the kingfisher, which we talked about last week. Then we had the barn owl, the mute swan, the blackbird, the robin, and the red kite.
Wow.
So those are the 6 birds that the British population said they represent our country the most. We resonate with those birds the most. I can't remember the 4th, 5th, and 6th place, but I'll go from 3rd.
Perfect.
So in 3rd place came the blackbird. It sings so beautifully.
Yes.
Its song
told us all about the blackbird last week, didn't you?
did, yes. And it's got such a gorgeous song that illustrates kind of the soundscape of Great Britain. Like, you can't go anywhere without hearing one. They are so noisy, but in the most beautiful way. So their charming song felt very, like, when I heard that they'd come third place, I was like, I'm surprised they didn't come higher, honestly. They are such an iconic sound. And then 2nd place was the barn owl. So a wild barn owl is a beautiful brown owl. It's got a white face, kind of mousy brown feathers, and if you look up a picture of a barn owl flying, it's got a beautiful silhouette, and it is really majestic, and it just really feels like it belongs in the British landscape. You completely understand why people thought that. And it is such a special thing to find out that you've got barn owls nesting in your barn. So I think we've had them once or twice, which has been really nice. Yeah.
Special.
And then 1st place, which does not surprise me, is the mighty robin. So the European robin is the British national bird. We share a robin, but the American robin, with a couple of states in America. But I think, as far as I saw, we are the only country to have the European robin as our national bird. And so I was very, very happy to find that out, because researching it was such a treat, honestly. Historically, the robin is a favoured bird by so many people. They're very little brave things, which sometimes they're too brave to their own detriment.
Yeah.
They sing a lot, and I found out that they sing to defend their territory. So what a peaceful way to defend your territory, or an annoying way if that's what you're trying to do, is annoy people away from you. In history, in tradition, they have a lot of representation as well. So in the Victorian era, postmen were called robins because of the red uniform that they wore.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So that was a kind of, I guess, affectionate nod to them. They are a symbol of Christmas, which I don't think is a surprise to anybody. They're on all the cards, and they're on all your Christmas cards. That picture of there's an iconic image in my head whenever I think of a robin perched on a shovel, just
yeah,
that's kind of upright, lodged in the ground. I always think about that. Next to a snowman, perhaps. In fact, this image in my head, it inspired me to write a song last Christmas about a robin and an old man. Maybe one day I'll share it. But I came up with the I came up with like a poem one day as I was walking to school. It was quite embarrassing, really, because I made myself cry.
Oh, no, that's not embarrassing. I think that's beautiful.
But I just came up with this poem, this story, and then I had to put it to music.
Oh.
So as soon as I got home from work that night, I made it, and I'm very, very fond of it, quite proud of it. So I'll share that at some point.
That would be awesome. I love your singing voice.
Thank you. They are very associated with Christianity. They are also a symbol of remembrance.
Okay.
So they appear when loved ones are near, apparently. They're associated with hope. And some maybe on the darker side now. Destroying a robin's nest is supposed to cause disaster. Could be disease or wildfire, or I don't know, fights or something. So don't disturb a robin's nest.
Yep.
And in Norse mythology, lightning would strike anybody that caused harm to a robin, its nest, or its eggs. So they're very, very protected. People feel very protective towards them, clearly.
So special.
Isn't it? Isn't it? The humble robin.
In Norse mythology, does that just to any person? Because obviously you've got animals that will eat the eggs, right? So do they also get struck down by lightning?
I don't remember it specifying. That would be interesting to look up.
I would assume just people, but I don't know. That was a thought that popped into my head while you were chatting.
I feel like, and could be wrong here, but I feel like it would be people that would consciously cause harm, whereas anything else would probably just be acting on instinct, right?
Yes.
So maybe that's the distinction.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, that's the robin. Very lovely bird. It comes in second place of my favourite birds, with the blackbird at the top. So that's quite nice.
That's really cool. What a beautiful bird as well as your
It is
as your national bird. I think that's so cool. Our South African national bird is the blue crane. So do you know about it? Have you seen it? Okay.
No.
But it is this very elegant. Oh my gosh, she's so elegant. Light blue, almost grey, so those bluey greys in color. She's also known as Stanley crane or the paradise crane. I'd never heard of those other names. So I love that I've decided it's a she. You get males and females, but the blue crane has this light blue-gray plumage, a very long neck, long legs, and then their wings are also super elegant as well. And they sweep almost to the ground, which are just, gorgeous. They feed on seeds, insects, reptiles, and small animals. So they are what we would say is omnivorous. Wow. The symbolism of the blue crane, I had no idea before we started this episode. It was amazing to find out. So there's a lot of symbolism and cultural significance, both in Africa and out of Africa. So bear with me. It symbolizes bravery, heroism, and merit. But the blue crane is also associated with communication with the ancestors and is considered sacred, playing a very significant role in a lot of traditional ceremonies that happen. So I think it was in our previous episode that we spoke about how often birds are almost seen as like they take the soul up to heaven or whatever you want to believe in. They're messengers. So again, we're seeing that play out with the blue crane.
I honestly think it's so beautiful how birds have been perceived as links to the ancestors and to the afterlife and stuff like that. I really think it's so comforting.
I just think it's fascinating that these beliefs go back in almost all cultures worldwide. Before we had problems, before we were able to communicate. To me, it just shows that and now this again is my own opinion, my own thought, but it almost makes me feel like these are the similar thoughts to what our so we're Homo sapiens, right? So what the previous group had, their thoughts and their beliefs, and it makes me feel like maybe it goes back in all those in those ancestry, not just when we were Homo sapiens, but further back than that. Because if it's the string that connects all of us, it makes me wonder if maybe those were their thoughts and beliefs as well.
That's so interesting. I hadn't even considered that it might even go that far back.
Well, we would never know, right? So we can make assumptions,
Yeah,
we can
true.
make guesses, but we'll never truly know. But I just
No,
think,
that's true.
considering that they pop up as these communicators, as these connections to the afterlife, I feel like there's something more there.
Yeah, well, folklore, like how far back does folklore go?
That
And
is a
there
good
is so much wisdom in folklore, isn't there?
for sure. For sure.
And I mean, the whole thing about folklore is you don't know where it started. It's like it just started before time
Wait.
itself. You have no idea the origin. It's just always existed.
Yeah. So that's just a little thought there. So there is a lot of importance specifically in South Africa. The Amaxhosa people call it the Ndwe. The ladies at school had to help me with my pronunciation. So the Ndwe is their Xhosa name for the blue crane. We see a lot of importance for the blue crane in both the Xhosa tribes and cultures, as well as the Zulu tribes and cultures. The present Zulu king, King Misuzulu Kazweletini, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He wears head feathers from the blue crane, and that is a tradition that supposedly was started by King Shaka, who is a very famous Zulu king from around the time that the British started landing in South Africa. He led many wars or fights against them, and then also notable warriors and royalty like the king will also put these feathers in their headdress. So it's not just the king, but it also the notable warriors as well will get that almost that honor.
Is
And
it like
so
a symbol of authority or a symbol of
it
like
is
achievement or something?
achievement more than authority. And so they've got in both cultures there's this status of Ititwalandwe. Again, please, my pronunciation of the Zulu languages is terrible. But basically what that means is the one who wears the plumes of the rare bird. And so it's seen as this rare bird, and so it's like this very special opportunity
Mm,
to wear these feathers.
yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah, and so that's both in like the Xhosa and the Zulu tribes. But then I also learned that the Ham people, which are the Khoisan, in their oral history and their legends, they often speak about the blue crane as the bird who is said to be the first bushman and the sister of the praying mantis. So in their oral history, the blue crane is kind of said to be this first bushman that I think got turned into the blue crane. And somehow he is the sister of the praying mantis, who I would assume also got turned into a praying mantis. But yeah, so that's the very interesting cultural side of things within Africa.
Mm.
Then what I found really interesting, and now what I found through my research was not necessarily the blue crane having a lot of significance with out of Africa, but there are other cultures that then also see a crane in like these important roles as well. So in Aboriginal Australia, legends reference a crane, including dances that mimic their courtship performances. And so that's been seen in Australia. There are Greek and Roman myths that also talk about cranes. Then China as well, and Northern America too. And I could go into all of those different like ones, but the one that really stood out to me that I found really interesting was in China, the smooth and graceful movements of the crane inspired a whole bunch of styles of kung fu. So it's also one of the 5 famous fighting styles in Shaolin martial arts.
That's so interesting. So I've been learning about biomimicry. Do you know what biomimicry is? So it's basically where we take inspiration from nature to influence our behaviors or creating things like inventing things that will serve us. So, an example that I read from Stephen Kellett was that you might take solar energy properties of a leaf and use that to kind of help you to create a solar powered system.
Ah,
Um, so that's one example. But then another one, I guess, like using the crane to imitate that to create martial arts. So incredible.
It is. And I know nothing about martial arts, but it's making me think of Kung Fu Panda and how the crane is one of the main characters. Yeah, that's all about my blue crane. They are a vulnerable species, and so there are a lot of conservation management projects out there to try and protect them. But it is a beautiful bird, and I am so glad that we decided to do our national bird so that I could learn more information about the symbolism and the mythology around it.
Yeah, and it helps you to, I guess, connect with your country on another level, doesn't it? When you realize the significance between these national animals or national plants or something.
Mm,
I think it's really interesting. And it also gives you a renewed appreciation for that particular animal or plant species as well.
for sure.
So, really enjoyed this topic that we chose.
Well, thank you for choosing it. Do you have any other birds that you want to talk to us about? I have one specifically that I think is very interesting, but do you want to go first?
I don't have any research on any more birds to share today. So, Caitlin, tell us about the African hoopoe.
Okay, so firstly, I love this bird. It is definitely one of the ones when we were thinking about what are our favorite birds, this one came up for me a lot. But there is a huge debate about whether the African hoopoe and the Eurasian hoopoe are two different species or if they've kind of just become a subspecies. Because
Okay.
yeah, so the European hoopoe used to, I think, migrate. And I don't know if them and some of them just decided not to migrate. There's a whole lot of like talk in the hoopoe, I don't know, community. But up until now, as far as my research could tell, they've got no definitive answer. The African hoopoe has this very distinct crown or crest of feathers. It's got this really rich chestnut brown color. And then its wings as well as the crest are these like black and white feathers, as well as its tail. It's got a very long bill. The underbelly is often white. But yeah, so these are the hoopoes, and I love them so much. They are very abundant they used to be very abundant in my area that I've grown up in. Less so since more and more buildings kind of started to be built. But if I go back to when times before me, but like around the times that like I suppose probably the end of World War II, research was telling me that around that time there was a huge influx in this area, and it all used to just be kind of like, we would call it felt land. Like felt is almost like field land.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of wild animals that used to roam around, but there were a lot of hoopoes back then. It's not as easy to spot them now, but whenever I do, that's always very special for me, and we'll get into their symbolism in a moment. They are not a very social bird. They will often be seen by themselves or in pairs. They eat a lot of insects, small reptiles, as well as anything kind of like on or just under the ground level. They often flip over leaves and plant matter. They'll even go into like other animals' fecal matter. If there's like bugs on top of it, they'll like pick those off. And every now and then they'll eat seeds and berries, but they really do much more prefer the beetles and the insects. Exactly.
Gross.
I mean, I suppose that's a really great way for them to find anything, because
It is, yeah. Lots of bugs too, don't they?
dung beetles, those all gravitate towards feces. So I suppose. And what I found really interesting about looking at their symbolism and cultural impact or cultural significance is that I found very drastic differences. Often it symbolizes wisdom, prosperity, loyalty, protection, and the journey of self-discovery.
I think I knew that one.
Okay. So I love all of those. But then on the flip side, they can also be associated with violence, war, scrappiness, and defense.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're very territorial to the point that they will fight each other and like stab each other with their bills. and they'll bleed. Like, and so when they fight, it's this very, very violent thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all for that protection. So I found that really interesting that they got these two very different sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read a book this year. It was called Haroun and the Sea of Stories by Salman Rushdie, and that talked about a hoopoe bird, and it was like a journey of this young boy and his dad on like a self-discovery journey, and this hoopoe bird kind of guided them through the whole thing. So I didn't realize that's what a hoopoe bird actually represented until you said that. Now the dots have just connected, so that was nice.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that sounds like such a beautiful book, and it does make a lot of sense knowing that they tend to symbolize the journey of self-discovery. But I also, so there's just this like, there's that side of things, but then there's also this like brutality and vengeance as well, which comes with their protectiveness, which I found really, really interesting. And various cultures see the hoopoe as a messenger.
Okay, here we go again.
Yes, exactly. And its presence is also associated with important visitors, good fortune, and a connection to the spiritual realm.
Okay.
So again, that like almost connecting our ancestors to us, right? And it was the badge for both my primary school and my high school. So it is very deeply ingrained in me. Within Africa, there's a lot of folklore around the hoopoe that symbolizes a loyal friend, a good, prosperous visitor. Then it's also got to do with its call signaling the arrival of important guests. So it's not just seeing it that tells you that an important guest is on its way, but hearing the call tells you that somebody is coming, which is really special. Broader African traditions believe that their rhythmic call conveys hidden messages.
So like, and obviously not the same thing, but like a Morse code-esque situation.
Maybe also just like, because they are these messengers, if you listen to the music of nature, there's this like hidden message in what they've got to say. And so their call is like this boop, 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 boop. So it's like this oop oop almost, and it's beautiful, and you can hear it for quite a far distance. And so there's belief that maybe in that they are hidden messages for us.
Wow. Well, I mean, that wouldn't be the last time that music has been used to hide codes in. If anyone's interested in learning more, research Schoenberg, because he was a master.
Yeah. So that's definitely like the very good side of it, I feel like. There's also a lot of connection with them and the Egyptians. So in Egyptian art, it's depicted as the protector of tombs and the symbol of royalty.
Mm-hmm.
They are meant to be protectors within tombs, the protectors of the spirit on its journey to the realm of the dead, which again, I suppose is kind of that journey of self-discovery, right? Once you've passed. Then when a hoopoe is depicted in the hands of a child in Egyptian art, it signifies that the child is his father's rightful successor and heir.
Okay.
Because I'm like, okay, but who decides? Does the artist just pick a child to draw a hoopoe?
Who decides?
And then it's also supposed to repel evil spirits because of their unique scent, which I've not really spoken on a lot about. Because they've got, I think it's a gland that secretes, I think it's urine, I can't remember, but so they are often thought to be like one of the smelliest animals in the bush.
Such a small thing too.
Such a
smelly but small.
Very, very, I suppose like a stink bug, right? The Celtic tradition symbolizes the hoopoe as a representation of inspiration and succession. So I suppose that succession goes hand in hand with the Egyptians. Then hoopoes were also thought of as thieves throughout much of Europe. And in Estonia tradition, they are strongly connected with death and the underworld. And this is again where I found like a massive contrast. Their song is believed to foreshadow death for many people or cattle.
That's interesting. I wonder where that's come from.
I don't know. Because it is just really interesting that on the one side you've got okay, their call tells you that somebody important is coming. And then
That's,
in
yeah.
Estonia, you've got, no, it means it's the death song.
Unless it's talking about someone important is coming, and then you're going to have a big feast.
And that's
I
why the
don't
people
know.
are dying.
I think I'm barking up the wrong tree.
I mean, you're definitely barking up a tree. I mean, that's a better connection than I was able to come up with. And one last darker thing before we'll finish off on something a little bit lighter. In medieval ritual magic, the hoopoe was thought to be a very evil bird. And there is this collection of magical spells that was compiled in Germany. And it often requires the sacrifice of a hoopoe to summon demons and perform other magical intentions.
Okay. Maybe that's why they've been thought to bring death.
Yes, true. Maybe. But then it still doesn't make sense as to why their call is about somebody important coming. So I'm not too sure. But then in some cultures, I'm guessing Mediterranean cultures, hearing the singing hoopoe before wine pressing is believed to foretell a good vintage.
All right. Well, good to know.
Exactly. A little bit of fun there to end on after all the heaviness of, yes.
The hoopoe's dark side.
Exactly. Oh, okay. Would you like to start us off with a understory of the week?
I'd love to. It's
Okay.
a very short and sweet one. So on Saturday, I went to my friend's wedding, and it was a really, really beautiful day. I had the best time. And during the ceremony, as my friend and her now husband were taking their vows, I should say friends, they are both my friends. Sorry about that, Will. Anyway, as they were taking their vows, there was a murmuration of starlings. So let me just take a step backwards. I want to set the scene for you.
Please.
You've got the bride and the groom and the officiate stood at the front of this room in front of this huge window. Like, this whole section of the building is just window, right? Beyond the window is these Wiltshire views for miles and miles and miles, and you can just see hills and trees and sunflowers, and it's so stunning. And they're saying their vows, and there's this murmuration of starlings that just keeps on going past the window, and it's so idyllic, it's so beautiful, and such a memorable moment. And I don't know what it is about the interaction of beautiful, spontaneous nature, because we all know that nature can also be not so beautiful, but beautiful, spontaneous nature at the exact moment of something so special in somebody's life. It was so emotional. It made me feel really, really emotional inside. It was a very special moment. And then we proceeded to have so much fun for the rest of the day. But that was such a beautiful moment. That murmuration of starlings going past as they're doing their vows. And it kept coming past as well. It wasn't just like a quick fly past. Like, it kept murmurating past the window. It's very, very nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so special. Wow. What a beautiful moment for them as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what a fantastic place to choose, first of all, and then to have that, yeah, it was really stunning.
Amazing. Oh, divine. How beautiful.
A moment that I'll keep hold of forever.
And they will too. And you'll probably find that they will then almost, the starling's going to become like a very special symbol for them.
But that's true. That's how these things become symbolic, isn't it?
Mm.
So, yeah.
That's beautiful.
I just share that. So, tell us about Anna's Understory of the Week. I'm dying to hear it.
Let me pull it up.
Lovely Anna. Dear, dear Anna.
Okay. So, Anna's little anecdote / story for us is really more just giving us some information. The other day, she was busy catching up on our videos, and she says, I find it fun and cute that most of what you guys talk about is what I teach and add to my lessons. So that's really cool. Good to know we're getting our information right, because it wouldn't be in Anna's lesson if it wasn't right.
We're getting something right.
We're doing okay. We're doing okay. But then what she also wanted to add, because she had clearly just watched our episode about pollinators, which I think might have been the spring autumn episode.
Okay.
Where,
Like
where,
episode 4 or
yeah, was that episode 4 where we were talking about
I think it
um
was.
yeah, the signs of life, right?
Yeah.
And so she must have been on that episode. She says, with pollinators, chocolate is pollinated by flies.
Well, like houseflies.
So, chocolate or cacao flowers are pollinated by tiny little flies known as chocolate midges.
Yeah, midges.
Yeah, tiny little baby flies, and they are around 1 to 4 millimeters. So, really, really small.
Yeah, we get some of those. We also call them gnats.
Okay.
Um in the UK, and they're really annoying.
They
But if they
are really,
pollinate chocolate, then they're friends, aren't they?
it's okay. We'll let them continue to pollinate that chocolate for us. A very important job.
That is such an important job. Thank you,
Mhm.
gnats and midges.
Yeah, so grateful for them. So another thing that Anna shared with me, because she's living in Australia now, is that there are a lot of carnivorous plants in the Aboriginal like outback and like within Australia, which
I always forget that they exist because, like, flycatchers, right? They're carnivorous, aren't they?
yeah,
I always forget about them, and that's crazy.
I
It's kind of
always loved them, but I would never have imagined that they live in Australia. I always think more like tropical
mm,
or the Little Shop of Horrors, you know.
yeah, but Australia has got everything that you can think of that's going to cause some kind of harm. Hasn't it? So of course, it has carnivorous plants because
Because why?
otherwise it wouldn't be
Why?
doing its job properly, would it?
Exactly. Everything there can eat you. So that was the one other thing that she mentioned. Basically, Anna was explaining to us that mosquitoes, which are often seen as these really irritating and dangerous insects, especially within Africa with malaria. She was explaining to us that mosquitoes are just the carriers of diseases. And so they are often seen as these really bad creatures, but actually it's not their fault. A bit like she mentions the beetles that we were talking about that were affecting the trees. Another thing is I don't know how often you guys get mosquitoes up there, but they are all over the place at the moment, and especially come the rainy season, because then there's lots of
Oh
puddles
yeah.
for them to reproduce. Um, but what's really interesting is their larvae are a really good food source for water, and then the insect mosquito themselves is really good as a food source for birds and bats. While we
I
see them is, and that I think is what you were thinking about, right?
Yeah, it was. Bats are so cool, and anything that feeds bats and birds, we're happy with.
But we need to just keep them not in check, because too many, again, we always talk about that balance, right? So too many would be a big problem. Kind of trying to find that balance is important.
Yeah, yeah, because they can be very, very dangerous creatures, can't they? For something so small, they can be so dangerous. But again, I think a lot of the issues that we'll start to see with them are not necessarily mosquitoes' fault, but more climate change and more spaces being habitable for them, which, of course, if they can live there and thrive there, then they're going to, aren't they? It's not
Mm,
necessarily their fault, which
yeah,
doesn't make life easier for us knowing that.
no,
But
definitely not. I think obviously malaria is such a hectic disease as well. So that always is
Mhm.
a big worry. So that was the little kind of understory, kind of just like a biology lesson.
Well, I loved
From
it. Send more, Anna.
Anna.
We love
Yeah.
hearing from you.
On that note, also, we would love to hear from anybody. So
Yes,
we've now
we
had 2 viewers send us little stories or information, and we would love to hear your thoughts as well. Any of your adventures that you're going on, please feel free to send it through. And so, with that, we would like to thank you very much for joining us on today's adventure, all about beautiful and brilliant birds. We hope that you've enjoyed hearing what we have to share and hearing what we've been up to. We look forward to hearing your thoughts and stories about what you've been up to in nature. If you would like to share anything with us, you can find us on Instagram at understory_learning, or you can also pop us an email at understorylearning@gmail.com. We would really, really enjoy hearing from you. And even if it's not something you want us to share out with everyone else, even if it's just for Hattie and I, we would love
Yes, we would.
We would love any communication that the birds bring our way.
Yeah, please get in touch. Send us pics, send us videos, send us stories. We want to hear all of it.
Yeah, thanks for listening and thanks for joining us. We will see you on our next adventure.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.